evening, everybody, and welcome to Everything Vaguely Paranormal. I'm Shelley Pruitt, and my partners in the paranormal, Mr. Blake Smith and Mr. Ryan Roberts. How are you, gentlemen?
Dude, I'm so excited. This is awesome. This is the first. I mean, this is somebody coming to us internationally tonight. I'm stoked. I'm really excited.
Could y'all imagine whenever
Yeah.
we started this and we first got our few Australian followers and we were like, what the fuck? And now we have a guest from Australia on the show. I'm stoked about this.
I am too, because you know, Australia is my favorite penal colony. They are. I love them.
I think
love
it's
the
just you just love the word penal. Let's be honest. That's all that it is.
Whatever. But anyway, you guys, we're going to go ahead and bring him to the screen. We want to introduce you to our international guest. And of course, he is from Australia. He is a paranormal researcher, a paranormal investigator, an author. He works with the Australian Paranormal Society. We met him at the Lone Star Paracon, where he fulfilled one of my fantasies. I had an Australian man call me his little Sheila. So,
dude, you could have scooped Shelly up in a cup from the puddle that she was on the floor.
I'm telling you. So this man fulfilled my fantasy, and he's an all-around good guy. So we are very, very happy tonight to introduce you, our friend, Mr. William Tabone. And he goes by Bill, right?
That's correct. That's correct, Shelley. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey.
Oh, good. Love that intro. That's a great intro, guys.
Ah, thank you.
Thank you. You never know. I came up with it on the fly, huh?
That's very cool. Very cool.
Now we have to ask you, as we ask all of our guests when they first come on the screen, are you sure?
Absolutely. As I've said before, I'm resigned to my fate.
That's probably the best way to do it. So, Bill, tell us a little bit about you and the Australian Paranormal Society.
For sure. Well, I've been an investigator for nearly 40 years, 39 and a half years.
Wow.
So I've been around a lot. Come from the Stone Age, basically. We were started the society about a bit over 15 years ago with a bunch of other people who dropped off, and Amanda and I ended up basically running the show by ourselves. It's something we've built, something that we've loved for that long. Helping people, educating, etc., getting the paranormal out there to the public, and helping as best we can. So that's sort of where I come from. Amanda's she's been seeing spirits since she was 3. Her main work now is actually working with the police on cold cases, and
nice.
Really, really interesting work. So we cover quite a wide range of subjects in the field. So,
so does she have psychic abilities, or is
absolutely. Yeah. Since she was 3, she's been seeing spirit. A greater story with her is she said she was seeing there used to be a gentleman who used to come and visit her in spirit all the time when she was younger. And one day, when she was about 12, she actually asked the mum, "Can we see your wedding photos?" She'd never seen them. And unfortunately, she comes from a family that doesn't believe and was not religious or anything like that. And they're looking through the photos, and she saw this man. She said, "He comes and visits me all the time." And the grandmother was there as well, and she basically got told, "Don't be stupid. There's something wrong with you." And she learned to shut down from telling them anything. But luckily, she didn't shut down her gift. And she's very, very good at what she does. So It complements, because I've got no psychic abilities. But I'm totally clueless, when it comes to instincts.
You did come on this show, so we can verify.
No, it proves everything.
So, I mean, you said that she was taught to shut down her abilities. Are Australians not as open as we would like to think to that sort of thing?
No, actually, it was lucky she didn't actually shut down her abilities, but she stopped telling them what she saw. Unfortunately, as you guys would know, a lot of people do, when they have their gift, and, when you've got parents or, people that you respect and such, and they're telling you, "Don't be stupid, you're just making it up. It's an imaginary friend. It's whatever." Kids can shut down. Kids can turn that off and unfortunately lose that ability, or close it off so they can't use it. But luckily she didn't. And she left home quite early and actually went on to develop that and become. She was investigating at about 17, and then she's become a nurse, and she was working in hospitals with palliative care and all sorts of different things and helping people and seeing a lot in hospitals and such as well. So she was able to develop more and more. She actually has written a book about her experiences in there, and some of them are crazy. Some of them are just, you know, yeah.
So
go ahead, Ryan.
I said, so what was the one that grabbed you and pulled you in?
That's what I was about to ask.
Me, you know, I've always believed that some people were meant to be in the field. You know, so sometimes, you know, I always love to be in the field, but there's some that I think are meant for some reason to be in the field. And I always say I've had a passion for the paranormal from before I could remember. I remember being a little kid, and you know, if there was something on the television or there was you know, a newspaper or a book or something, I would be drawn to it like crazy, whether it was ghosts, UFOs, anything like that, you know. And I can't tell you when that started, but I mean, I had a couple of experiences as well along the way there. Nothing that you would, you know, no vision, you know, people appearing to me or anything like that. But what I had was, for example, a dream when my grandfather passed away. And I walked down into the living room. My grandfather, he had actually both his legs amputated. He was, had them taken off. So he was in a wheelchair most of the time. So walking into this the living room, and he's sitting in a corner. He's got my dad on one side and my uncle on the other side, and he's got his legs. And I went up and just gave him a kiss on the cheek and told him I love him. And that was it. It was nothing special. But the next morning, and I was only probably 7 or 8 at this point, because it was just after he passed. I was about 8 when he passed. Sorry, 8 or 9, I should say. And I spoke to my dad, and my dad actually said, I remember my dad saying, I had a strange dream last night. And he had done exactly the same thing that I did in my dream. And, but he wasn't obviously there next to him. Then my elder sister come into the room, and she goes, I had the strangest dream, and she had the same dream.
Wow.
And so for me, it's a little bit different than, you know, a ghost sighting or, you know, having things thrown at me or something like that. But it was, but even back then, at that young age, I knew something had happened. Yeah.
So and with you though, so in that, I guess having that shared dream, I don't know exactly what definition you want to put to it, but that shared dream. Yeah, that shared dream. Did your family understand it, accept it, foster that mentality?
Well, my parents were really good. They didn't, you know, they knew I had an interest. They knew I liked this sort of thing, and they didn't say, "Oh, that's terrible. You shouldn't be looking at that sort of stuff or doing that." They tend to encourage us to learn. My father, like, you know, my father was going to be he was actually studying to be a monk in Malta. I told you he come from Malta, and he spent 6.5 years in a monastery. This fella, and he studied psychology and philosophy. He could speak 7 languages, and including Latin. I actually have his Latin dictionary right here. And you know, he was a religious man, but he was a wise person almost. Helped everyone, used to go to court for people, and he'd do their taxes if they were stuck, get them jobs. He was a good guy. And my mum was a bit of an adventurer. She when she was younger, she learned to ride motorbikes, and she loved to dance. And, you know, she'd go out on a Saturday. My favorite story is she'd go out on a Saturday morning and go and buy material and a pattern, come home and make a dress, because she could sew and knit and create things, and use that and wear that dress that night to go out dancing with her friends. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
And she did martial arts, and, you know, she's passed on now, but, you know, she was an adventurer. So she was open to, you know, us learning different things. And so I was never stifled. I was always encouraged to have a go.
I love that.
Yeah.
So did you get your adventurous spirit, I'm guessing, from your mother, your fearlessness to walk into places?
You know, the funny thing is, as a child, I was actually chronically shy. I was scared of everything. I couldn't speak to anyone, pretty much couldn't speak to anyone hardly out of my family. I did martial arts from a young age as well. As I said, Mum, well, that's how Mum got into it, because I was doing it. I had a good instructor, and he said, you can't sit there. She used to sit on the side watching us knitting, and she would be knitting, and he said, you can't do that. You've got to come and train. So he made her get up and actually do something. And she said, "Oh, I'm not gonna go for any exams and things like this." And she ended up getting 6 black belts. So,
oh my gosh!
Damn.
Oh yeah, this tiny little woman, like she's tiny. She's probably about your size, Shelley. Like tiny, right? And she was throwing me around, throwing people around, and I loved it. But yeah, I think I had good parents, and I had actually really this was one of my instructors, but he was really good, and he would push me and make me, when I was getting to the time when I had to start teaching or he needed help, he would make me and just get me up there, and I was fine, doing that. I worked on it, and I think that and I've carried that over now, and I'm much better now than I was, but as you can probably tell, but it's still like before I do an event or before I do even something like this, the nerves start, and I've got to calm myself, so I think that's just the way people are, but sometimes, so.
The way I see that is if it doesn't matter to you, then you're not nervous. But if it matters to you, you are. So I think that's a very good quality to have.
That's true.
Yeah, I think nerves are good. I think nerves show that you do care. It's really it's a physical and a psychological reaction to something that you do care about. So yeah,
that's right. I agree.
If you didn't care, you wouldn't worry about it.
Right. Yeah.
And coming from a martial arts background, do you find that when your nerves start and you have to center yourself before you go and do a lot of this stuff, do you find that makes you more open to things happening to you?
Well, I think what it does is it allows me see a lot of the cases we do tend to be quite dark. We're not one of these ones that everything's a demon. I'm
right.
Some people are like that. And I've dealt with them here all the time. I go into houses where people have been told one is more than once, but one especially where this lady says, I can't afford to leave my house. I've been told I have to leave because there's multiple demons in here. And we went there, and it was nothing like that. And we sorted her and helped her. But when we're dealing with anything that's sort of darker, I mean, with my martial arts, I used to teach a lot of security people and what you would call we call them close personal protection people, like bodyguards, things like that. So we used to teach them things, and I had military people, I had people from the Air Force and the Army train with me, and I had that sort of stuff. Not officially with them, but they would come to me and train. And I was a bit sneaky, so I would actually study how their minds work as well. I would talk to them about how do you control your fear? How do you do this? How do you learn that? How do you practice? What do you do? And I took that on and have incorporated that into the paranormal, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So that absolutely makes sense.
I learned to center myself and to and balance myself, even if it's a pretty strange situation, especially when I'm feeling nervous. I learned to control that and keep that under check, and I teach other people how to do that as well.
That's something I find very interesting, because once you're able to figure out how to channel your fear, because your fear is actually pretty useless, because that causes you to panic and not think and not make good decisions. You have to be able to channel your fear into something that's useful, whether it's excitement, whether it's curiosity, whether it's refocusing and settling down. So
exactly.
What's your main trick if you were going to impart a trick to us? If you start feeling like you're afraid and begin to panic, what is something you do specifically to calm yourself and recenter and refocus?
Yep. So a lot of what I do with that is comes down to understanding how we feel. So what happens when you start to get scared, you start to get panic, you get butterflies, you get that breathing, right? Now, if we understand what that is, like the butterflies, for example, when you're heading into the flight or flight mode, your body's organs and everything starts to shut down, right? Because what they do is they start to direct blood into the what you'll need, your limbs, you to be able to run or to fight. So your digestive system, everything starts to slow, so you get those butterfly feelings. So understanding what that is simply starts to get you ready to go forward. But then I combine that with breathing properly, getting my breath right, okay, and to work on and then I work on the mind. So the mind, I calm the mind, right? So what happens is also when you panic, you've got a million things running through your head. Well, how can I get out of here? What's going on? Why? What? everything, and you've got to calm that. So it's a combination of understanding, right, calming the body and calming the mind, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
Everyone does it differently, so everyone will do it differently. So I don't tell you when I'm, for example, my team, for example, if one of them is, wanting to learn something like this, I would, someone comes into the team, they need to learn it. I would say, right, you need to find your own way. It's same as when we put up our spiritual protections. We need to find our own way to do it. So, but it might be stopping, having a glass of water. It might be going outside and just watching the clouds. It could be anything that will calm and center you, physically and emotionally, combined with understanding. So it's obviously a lot more detail, but that's.
But the main step is, first of all, recenter your breathing, and then figure out a way to calm your mind so that you can focus. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. That's the way it is. Now, if we were to take that to the martial arts side of things, some of the things I was taught, for example, was become the third person. So when you're, if you're sparring, for example, you're having a training fight, and you're, they can, you can get if the guy's, a pretty good fighter, or you can get nervous, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But my instructor said, see it from outside, look at yourself from outside, look at the fight from outside, rather than being stuck in your head. Step out of your body almost and look back at yourself. And that's just one way. And then what that does is that says you see the bigger picture and you understand it better, rather than focusing on your own thoughts in your head and getting distracted that way.
That's a very good idea to kind of pull yourself out and try to look at it from a third person's point of view. Yeah. I've never thought about doing that. That's a great idea.
You can do that paranormal as well. So,
I was going to say, what a better way to handle it in the paranormal than my way, which is, oh shit. And then figure out whether you need to leave or go forward.
I usually figure that out when I'm back in the car and driving away.
Exactly. That's about the time that it comes in. Yeah. So with coming from these two different backgrounds, between you and your wife, how does the dynamic work whenever y'all come together and y'all are investigating? You'll go into a location. I'm sure her abilities come into play, and then how do y'all investigate, I guess is what I'm saying.
All right. Yeah. Amanda, she doesn't come out in the field all that much now. She actually has an illness that sort of slows her down a bit. Her main focus is her research and the cold cases that she works on, but she does now and then, and she has for many years, obviously.
Right.
The way we work is, she knows nothing when we walk into a place. If it's a house or a historical investigation or something like that, she really doesn't know a lot. Obviously, when you're walking into a famous mansion or something that's historic, people know things, but I don't tell her anything extra, if that makes sense. Right. When we walk into a private case, she really doesn't know a lot until she's in there, and she'll just say, leave me alone, and she'll go for a walk and take her notes or whatever she does, right? Which is pretty much here anyway. Don't talk to me. Stop bothering me and go away. That's I love you, darling. So she would do that, and then I would go in, and we you do that interview, or the people that are there, you talk to them, and you try to work out if it's private. Obviously. We have interview questions we need to go through. We do all that. Chat to chat. We observe them. We use body language and, all sorts of things, the way they talk, etc. So, my guys go through a psychological first aid course, so they tend to understand, the signs of, psychosis or bipolar or something that, might not, we can't diagnose people. It's only a small course, but it gives you an idea what you might be dealing with. And, obviously, just because I have this doesn't mean that nothing's happening. It just means that, that might be exacerbating it. So, she'll go off and do a thing. Then she'll come back and we'll start, we'll make a plan on how we would handle it. And I set up gear where she thinks the hotspots are mainly, and we make sure that there's always, she's always being filmed and recorded. So we not just so we catch something, but also we hear what she says and we observe what she says, and we observe her reactions. And then we can start putting everything together. It's, it's normal investigation, but that's how we would work. She does her bit, I do my bit, then we come together and we attack it how we think is best.
I love that y'all do like the basic psychology 101, so to speak. Better than what we do. We just go, are you on any medication?
And then I go check your med kit.
We do that as well. Don't worry. You know, you got any hard drugs? No.
Don't lie to me. I'll find it.
I mean, that's the thing. Like we're not, like you just said, we're not there to diagnose anybody. We're not there, you know. But we do realize that mental health can play an aspect into a paranormal haunting. So that's the reason why we asked that. We're not being assholes about it. We'll just say that, you know.
Well, Blake is, but
it's like I said, I got nothing. I don't care. You know. I tell the client, and this is a big thing. I always tell the client, you need to be 100% honest with me. I don't care if you're saying, you know, you're, you know, smoking marijuana or, you know, a couple of times a week or whatever. Right? I'm not a policeman. I'm not going to dob you in. I'm not going to do this, but I need to know what you're doing and how it relates. You know,
exactly.
Are you a narc, man?
And can you share? No. So, you know, that's just, that's how we work. And, you know, we're very different. We're, even since we're, you know, completely different people, you know, like fire and ice. And yet, you know, that works.
It just works. Yeah. That's what we say about the three of us. Like everybody's like,
you guys, I can see you guys work, you know, the energy in you guys is awesome.
And we always say we don't know exactly how it works, but we don't really want to ever figure it out. It just works, you know.
Exactly, and that's the thing, isn't it? You know, you guys gel really well, and that's
Thank
really
you.
Cool. Really
Thank you, man. So, being, you know, we met you at Lone Star Paracon, so we know you have come over on our side of the world too. Do you find a difference in investigation styles between Australians and Americans?
Ooh, good question.
Not really, to be honest. I think we can learn from each other. The big thing is, I find with the paranormal over there and here is, especially with locations, I think people are much more open over there to allow people in. Yeah, we a lot of places here, they won't let you in. They you know, well, for example, there was one old mansion house, and it's actually owned by the local government, the council. I worked for them, right? I used to. And, you know, I knew the people. I knew one of the old caretakers who used to work there, and he said, speak to this lady. She'll get you in. And I went there, and it was like, no, we're happy with our ghosts. I'm not trying to get rid of them. I just want to come in and
just want to talk to them. That's it.
Yeah. I just want to talk to them, you know. But they shut it down. And things like, I think over there you guys need like $1 million insurance, for example. You need like $1 million public liability or something like that. We're going to have $20 million public liability minimum.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's huge. You know, like, you know, it's so that's the difference. That's the big difference. But I think that the investigation styles aren't that different. I think pretty much all over the world you'll find. I've been in, you know, the UK and, you know, Europe. My son's just been to Japan, and he's been over to China before and that. And, you know, obviously Japan and China are very different, but most of the UK, Europe, us, etc., are quite similar. The whole thing is, I think we need to just try now to come away from the norm. We need to try looking outside the box, you know, and that's the big thing that we try to do. And what Amanda actually tries to do is actually push outside that known boundary of how we investigate. You know, it's little things. As in, I'll give you an example. We were last September, October. We were over there in the States. Amanda, myself, and my youngest bloke, Mackenzie, and we hired out. You know, in Gettysburg, we hired out the orphanage and the Jenny Wade house, and you know, well, Jenny Wade house was fun. I walked in there, and all my cameras died. They wouldn't work.
Oh wow!
There's no footage. No, all of them. I got a beautiful 4K camera, and it never's done anything like that before. It froze up and just would not work. A couple other cameras I had would not work. It was weird. Audio worked and still photography worked, but my cameras wouldn't work. But in the orphanage, for example, we had we hired it out, and the tour guy was going to just wait outside, and he was a nice guy, and I said, "Come in with us, come in and investigate with us." Ricky's name was. If you ever get there, ask for Rick. He's a top guy.
I'm going to be in Gettysburg in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. You got the orphanage and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We might.
We might.
We're gonna try to
go and see him there. They'll love it, mate. And anyway, I took this guy downstairs. We went down in the basement of the orphanage. We're sitting there, and we're doing our just your basics. And Maddie says, what music do you play down here to get them to engage? And they play like Green Sleeves or something like that. And she said, and not much was happening. She goes, nah. She goes, we're going to play, and I can't remember what it was. Something from Iron Maiden, right?
Okay.
Like, hell yeah.
And mate, hit, boom, 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 boom. And this thing went crazy. This place went crazy. Like even the guide was sitting there, and he was seeing like there's as you go down the stairs, there's a wooden beam a pillar coming down, and he was seeing like hands coming out of that, and things were talking in his ear, and he's an investigator. He's been around a long time, and he said that freaked me out a little. Right? But things like that, just changing it up, to change the energy. And then we had growling, and we had all sorts of things happening from that point on. Yeah, but I think
it's one of those things that I'm in agreement. I think we have to change it up because if you think about it, if you were a spirit in one of these places and you've been around since the late 1800s, let's say haunting a place, pretty sure you'd probably get tired about the 9,872 time asking for your name. Did you have wife and kids? When were you born? What year is it? So that's what we try to do as well. Is we try to change the energy up so much we almost treat it like a party.
That's how we do.
Who wants to have fun?
I think
as long as you're respectful, you can do. You can try anything. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I don't. I always think of spirits. They were human. They were us. And I wouldn't. If I was a spirit and you come in and just being disrespectful, I'm going to do two things. I'm either going to back off or I'm going to make it hell for you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm bringing some good old Aussie ass whooping. Or I'm walking out and you're going to get nothing. Which I think is even better.
Right.
Because,
yeah. So actually, I have a question that popped up in our comments real quick. Since we're on the lines of places you've investigated, they asked, what is there the one case that got you close to possibly maybe thinking about quitting the field? Do you have one that was that intense for you?
I've had a lot of intense cases. There was one location, and it wasn't even an investigation. It was actually one of our investigators lived down the coast way, and we ended up going down there one time. My two youngest were quite young. They were, I think, about in under 10, and we went down. We got a cabin, and we were staying there. And we went out for dinner. And he said to me, he said, "I want to take you. Want to come out with me? I'll go take you to this place and show you this place." I said, "Why not?" I asked Mandy. Mandy goes, "Oh, it's been a long day. We've been at the beach, and also," she says, "I'm taking the kids back to the cabin." So went back, got them settled, and he took me out, and I walked. He took me down to it. It was like a military bunker out in the middle of nowhere, covered by shrub. Like the whole place. You couldn't. There was one little path, probably about so wide, to get into the place. One to get out. You couldn't walk around it. The bush was so thick, and it was out in the middle of nowhere. There was nothing around. Anyway, we walk into this bunker, and there's candles lit, and there's satanic symbols and big pentagram on the floor. We're not saying that that's necessarily satanic. But
did you think you were about to be a sacrifice?
Well, I was getting a little bit worried. That wasn't the case. But I walked in and we were looking around, and then we started hearing something outside, something big walking around. But nothing could walk out there. It was that thick, and you could hear these big footsteps. The whole atmosphere changed, and it got really, felt really, really nasty. And so we thought, look, we're going to get out of here. And we went up this path, and there was, coming in, we didn't see it. There was a little second path, which we ended up going on and sort of getting lost a little bit and coming back and going out. Eventually got in the car, and we drove back to his place, and we were just saying, what the hell? Like, I've seen a lot of things, I've felt a lot of things, and I've experienced a lot of things. But this was, anyone that says when they do sort of darker cases, they don't get scared, is talking crap, right?
Yep.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. I was scared, right? And we get in the car, we pulled in his driveway. So we drove back about 10, 15 minutes, pulled in his driveway there, or his, as such, and something hits him in the back of the head, whack, right? And I could hear it. It went like that in the back of his head. What the hell? And there was a rock, a rock. Now, this rock was white. Where he lives, there's gravel there, but it's the sort of like a granite. It's a
darker stone, yeah.
But where we were, the gravel on the sides of the road there was white, right? And I thought, this thing's come home, right? This thing's come home with him.
Oh,
so anyway, I ended up leaving, and yeah, he was having some experiences there. But that place,
you're like, see you, buddy.
We ended up going back and over the cleanse his place and all that. But this place was one place that really scared me. Like we like the picture you have on your intro of the building. That's an asylum. That's Aradale Asylum. And I've slept in that place. I've walked around that place in the middle of the night on my own. I've locked up for the guy that runs the tours there. You know, that's a creepy place. This place was 10 times worse.
This one right here?
That one there, yeah, that's Aradale Asylum. Yeah. I used to do tours there till I had an injury, and I had to. It's about a 3-hour drive, so I'm sort of limited how far I can drive much of the time at the moment. So,
I mean, it just looks creepy.
Yeah,
it was the biggest. That building was the biggest asylum in the southern hemisphere up until it closed down. So,
wow,
65 buildings, you know.
Holy crap.
Wow.
Yeah, this place was like so much worse. It just felt so much worse. There was definitely something there that didn't make me want to quit, but it made me hesitant to go back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think we all.
I went back once.
I think we all have those locations that are like that. So
when you went back, did anything happen to you?
We went back during the day because I wanted to have a proper look. And yeah, the bush was so you couldn't walk through there. Nothing could get through there, and that's why it still got me how we heard this walking, and checked out the symbols, and you know, I just wanted to double check that what it was like, what that I wasn't freaking myself out, and get a proper look at the joint. So yeah, interesting place anyway, but. Yeah, it can stay there.
I was real scared the first time. I got to go back again just to make sure I'm not as scared.
I didn't say I was very bright.
So now you come over to America quite a bit, and I believe I saw on your page that you're actually putting together a couple of tours for people from America or wherever that want to come over and investigate with you. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
That's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. As I said, I always tell people, if you're coming to Australia, let me know, and we can put tours together for you. We can help you out with that. But also looking at doing it the other way, so taking people from Australia to America and different locations, etc. I have a lot of you get a lot of contacts, get a lot of good people, and sometimes people can't do it on their own. They don't know who to speak to. They don't know how to get into a location, and we can talk to people over there. We have friends over there, and we can say, look, need to go to this place. People want to come. How do we sort it? You know what I mean? So that's something I've been working on for a while, but trying to get to do it through some travel agents are really expensive and such. So I'm trying to find the right people. And hopefully we can get it going. But
or what? The paranormal investigators just need to get together and fly to Australia, and you meet them and they pay you to take them to the places. That's the way you do it. Tell them to get their butts over there on their own.
Anyone that come to Australia, and I'll look after you. Trust that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, just in this little conversation, we have a lot of investigators that watch us whenever we're live, and our comments are kind of blowing up right now going, heck yeah, bring them over. Let's do a paranormal exchange. Let's do it. We would love to do a swap. So
yes, let's foster and paranormal investigators from other countries.
Yeah, and you've got groups such as Ghost Geeks. That's our friends Chad and Leslie Wandell. You got the mysterious Mike and Sam who are saying that they're up in the
Kansas City
area. Sorry, I blinked for a moment. So yeah.
Awesome. You know, I love, and it's also a personal thing. I love to travel. I love traveling. I love, you know, for me, it's the moment I decide I'm going to go somewhere. That's the adventure starts. Then I start the planning, booking.
Right.
And people hate hanging around airports, mate. I love it. I love hanging around the airport, waiting. You know, getting on the plane. To me, it's the adventure all the way. You know.
Same. I'm with you, man.
Yeah. Oh, a friend of mine. I got a really good friend in the UK. Many years actually. I think it was just after I was there the first time at the States. The first time, just afterwards, they said to me, "Oh, we want to do an event. I'm going to do an event for you. I want you to come over and, you know, take people through an investigation." And he got this castle on the Welsh border. It wasn't a big castle, a small castle, but hey, it's a castle. And he said, "Come over and, you know, we'll do this event." I said, "Yeah, okay." And so I thought, well, I'm there. I'll go to Ireland and I'll go over to see my family in Malta and I'll do all this sort of stuff. Anyway, about 2 weeks beforehand, the thing sold out, right? So you got, I think he had like 40 people. It's crazy number of people. He had it booked out. And my son, who was supposed to come with me, so I'd had all the tickets. He was, at that point, he was 13. He decided he was going to go, I don't know what you call them over there. We call them BMX, which is the cross country, you know, the bikes and all that. BMX. He decided to do that. He's never done it before in his life. Had a crash, fractured 3 vertebrae in his neck.
Oh, no.
Punctured a lung. I get a phone call. He's at this place called the W's. I've never heard of it, right? So it's not far from my place, but I've never heard of it. It's this park out in the middle of nowhere. And he was staying at a friend's house, and they were supposed to just, you know, be hanging out. And his mate does this stuff. He doesn't. Anyway, he tried it, and he's done. And he's a big lad too. Like, he's a big boy. And he's gone headfirst into the ground. Luckily, he had a helmet on. I find the place eventually. I get there. He's sitting up, and I come on this side, and when I look on the other side, his whole face, he is blood, like it's all cut.
Oh, man.
I'm freaking out. The ambulances couldn't find the place. It was 3 ambulances trying to find the place. Anyway, they get down there, and like, even at 13, he's, you know, nearly 6'4". He's big, solid lad. Now he's 6'3.5" now or something, and built like a tank. Right, these 2 ambulance drivers come down there. One's a female, one's a male, and they're tiny. They're like, you're not going to carry him. Like, there's no way you carry him. Right? So they make him get up, and he walks himself out of this park with 3 fractured vertebrae. Right, anyway, take him to the hospital, get him sorted, and then it hits me. Shit, he's in hospital. He's got vertebrae back. My mum has a stroke. Right, at the same time. Just mild, but enough. Right. And Mandy's stuck is there. Mandy as a nurse. She's my mum's carer, right? So I've gone, what do I do? Like, it's got this event. They've sold out. I've got tickets. I've got everything. And well, you got to go do the event. So I changed. I had a really good travel agent guy. I changed it all, and I left Melbourne on the Thursday night. I arrived in London on the Friday. Saturday morning, I took a train up to meet my friends, and they took me to the castle that day. We had the event that night, hung around with them Sunday, on a train back to London on Sunday afternoon, and Monday I'm back on a plane coming back to Australia. So
damn.
Yeah, so
that's one hell of a turnaround.
That's a hell of a turnaround, and it was a great event, and it was you know, like, what the hell do you do? You know, so anyway, but that's, you know, it can be hard sometimes in traveling, especially with, you know, family and that, things happen. But, you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? So
the things we do to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, it is, you know, we made it. He's fine now. You know, like, my son's fine. He's a qualified chef, and he's studying. He does rap music, right? But he studies music production and all that side of things as well, and produces people. And so he's good, still investigating. So he's happy.
Yeah,
love that.
Yeah.
So I actually have a question that popped up that's going to be kind of for all four of us. I think all four of us can answer this one. The question is, are real life experiences at these locations as dramatic as they are on TV shows? Who wants to kick it up? Bill, we'll let you start.
I always say, like, you know, Hollywood has a lot to answer for in the movies. But with the ghost hunting shows, I mean, I know a lot. You guys would too. I mean, you know a lot of these guys. You know they're good guys, and the shows make it look like they're just there overnight, you know, and things. But a lot of time they're there for a week or
yep.
And they take all these little things and they squeeze them together, and it looks very dramatic. There's things that do happen, but you know, when you squeeze them down into an hour or half an hour, it looks like the place is possessed by Satan himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like anything, you know, you can squeeze all these little things into a small package and it looks much more dramatic. But I think the answer for me is that yes, things happen, but they might not be as dramatic as they look on screen. And then they add the effects. I always had, if we go back to the martial arts for a second, my instructor always said, don't look at the face. You know, he said, don't look at their face, because their face, they can growl, they can make, you know, they can be ugly, they can be something that's going to distract you. You know, he said, you know, look at the chest or wherever we have to look. We had training for that. But he also said, it's like watching a horror movie. If you watch a horror movie, you turn down the sound.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not it's not frightening, right? So it's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I would agree. I always tell everybody whenever they're asking, I want to go on an investigation, I want to go do this, I want to go be a part of whatever y'all do. And I'm like, listen, it's our investigations can last anywhere from 8 to 12 hours. You know, some we have that last 2 nights, but you're going to be sitting around a lot going, can you give us a noise? Can you give us a knock?
It's a lot of hurry up and wait.
And nothing's going to happen. And you're going to have all this equipment out. And then for about 30 seconds, all hell is going to break loose.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to spend the next 4 hours trying to get them to do it again.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's exactly what I say. Exactly what I say. That's word for word almost. It's like,
it is, you know, hurry up and wait.
Right.
I said you got to love what you do, because a lot of time you're sitting around in the dark doing nothing, in the cold, in the heat, you know, and until you get back and put the stuff on the computer, half the time you won't know if you got anything. You know what I mean? And you know, we go out on, you know, we do public investigations too. So we take, you know, you take the public out, and we have the equipment. And I'm not sure whether you guys are Monty Python fans.
I am.
Yeah. Well, you know, they have machines that go bing. Right? You ever watch that? Yeah? And he says, they're doctors and they're standing around a patient and they go, oh yes, everything's going to be fine. We have machines that go bing. You know. So for me, it's, you know, you have the equipment there, and you know, when that light goes off, that buzzer goes off, it's like, oh yeah, that's cool, you know, right? But you know, in reality, you know, it is a lot of sitting around doing nothing.
Talking out loud to things you can't see. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, talking to yourself.
It's a lot like fishing. You have to be very patient.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, but I've never had anything go in the background whenever something happens, you know. So.
Oh, we're being given up as bait, Shelly. It says nothing's popping up. Just throw Blake and Shelly into a dual Estes. That normally does the trick.
That usually does kick stuff off whenever you put the 2 chaotic energies in an Estes method. Yeah, that usually...
yeah,
usually gets things rolling. So can we talk about your book just a little bit?
Yeah, I got 2 books out.
I didn't realize you had a second. Let's talk about them.
Have I got a copy of it here? I don't even know if I've got a copy of it here, to be honest. Let me have a look. Oops, sorry guys.
Oh, it's okay.
That's okay. We wanted to see your ceiling.
I think I've got a copy. Oh yeah. This is a copy of before. It's all got notes in it. This is a copy. It's actually.
We can't see you.
Oh, why don't I knock the camera? Sorry, guys.
Now we can see you.
My son's cat got in here the other day and knocked everything over. Even the camera. I went looking at the camera. Where's the bloody camera? It was down the back of the desk. This is my second book. I know it's backwards on the screen.
The Ghost of Melbourne.
Ghost of Melbourne. So. The first one was Ghost of Airedale Asylum, which is that asylum you were looking at. We spent a lot of time in there. We used to go in on Fridays and we'd come out on, say, Monday or Sunday afternoon or Monday morning. So we're lucky enough to be able to stay in there. And then other times we ran tours, we had the public in there, or we did our own investigations. We had a lot of access, so a lot of stories, and that's what that one's about. The second one there is based on our central business district. I do a walking tour through there, so I take people around, tell them the stories, and it's basically a guidebook. So it tells them the location of a place, it tells them the normal history, and then the paranormal history. So they can go there and they can have a quick read, and while they're in front of the joint. But that's actually a series. There's going to be probably about 6 different books for like the suburbs, the rural, the different parts of the rural Victoria. So it's my state, basically. And I've got 2 and 3 being produced at the moment. And, and it's just there's places in Victoria that are great, that I love. And I figure, hey, if someone wants to come, even as I said, if you come from overseas, you can't somehow, whether it's timing or whatever, get, with someone that knows the place, they can grab that book and they can go through Melbourne and have a look at a bunch of locations. And
where can they pick up that book? Can they get that book on Amazon?
Yeah, on Amazon. Yeah, if they go through Amazon, they can find them. Ghosts of Aradale Asylum or Ghosts of Melbourne, and it's or if you're in Victoria and you come to one of our events, we'll always have books there, and you can buy them directly.
Yeah. When is the next time you're going to come back to the United States and see us?
Oh my God, we'd love to. It's just timing. We got a young bloke in school, so we got to make sure he gets.
He's 16. He'll be fine.
Yeah. I left my last year. What was he? 19. I left my 19-year-old here on his own when we went over last year, and my older son, who was 22 at the time, he was away. So he was here on his own, and he's my wild child. His name's Hunter, and yeah, he's a hunter, right? And I said, I come back expecting the place to be destroyed, and he even had dishes done. So, I know.
If it's extra clean, that means he got it extra dirty at some point.
Oh, don't worry. See, the funny thing is, we got one of those door cameras, so even over there, when people were coming in, my phone's dinging and telling me he's coming in.
Can't get away.
I reckon he wised up and was bringing him in the back door, but.
I love that. So there's no plans right now to come back.
Not at the moment. We'd love to come. We're working on it. My wife fell in love with San Francisco. We went. We stayed right down. Where Pier 39 and all that is, and down a bit further along that stretch there, right at the very end where the tram cars. We just call them trams, but where the tram cars start, there's a hotel called the Argonaut, and we stayed there, right? And we had a view straight at the window. You can see Alcatraz. It was fantastic. But all that area,
wow.
The weather was a little bit wild. There was fog and there was wind. It was a little bit crazy, and she just fell in love with the place. So she wants to go back there. But we'll be heading back eventually. It's just a matter of when. And as I said, trying to get these tours going, so you never know when we're coming over. So we're like invaders. We'll just turn up.
So we know that we met you at the Lone Star Paracon. Have you been able, in all your travels over here, have you been able to do anything in Texas? Any type of investigations at any locations?
We did. We did the Yorktown Hospital when we were there as well. So that was
okay.
That was fun. That's an interesting place.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's a nice little place. Not this. That was just a week. It was really sort of rushed. I was running around helping the lads set up and organizing, picking up different things. It involved a lot of carrying and helping. So
yeah, gotcha.
The previous time we were there, when I was there with Amanda and Mac, the boys took us like on basically the Texas Revolution. We went around to all the historic sites, did all that.
Cool.
Not a lot of investigating there that time, but I have been before, and we did a little bit around through the Menger and around the outside of the Alamo, which was interesting. We did a little. Actually, we did when we were there. We did a little bit of in a place called I don't even think it's the real name. We call it the Beauregard Mansion, which is the boy. It's a what do they call it, Airbnb or something like that, and it's an old mansion house. And actually, that was fun. We Barry's wife, I think, works with the owner, and they let us go in and have a look. And as we were walking up, there's like a push button to get in, and they were having trouble getting that working. And Amanda looked through the window and she actually saw a gentleman in an old military outfit.
Whoa!
And it turns out that when she explained that I think it was the son-in-law of the guy that owned the place was a military gentleman, and the uniform would have been very similar to what he was wearing, that sort of thing. So, Brad, they were telling, it's really funny because they'd been there obviously before, and one time they were there, Barry got pushed down the stairs, and he landed face first on the ground, right? And I've actually got a bit of video when we were there. I'm building a YouTube channel at the moment. I haven't released it. I haven't told anyone about it, but it's going to be up. But then we were there, and he's telling us his story, and we went upstairs and we come down. He's coming down after us, and he got pushed again. Right?
Oh wow!
Shoved into the wall, cut all his arm up, poor guy.
Oh, man.
Like he didn't come down face first, but he got shoved, and you could see it. We saw him get pushed, and so. Next time we're back in Texas, we're gonna spend a couple of nights there. We're gonna organize that.
You have to let us. Honestly, you have to let us know next time you're back in Texas, because we will speak with our friend Chad and Leslie and see if there's an available night at the Old Park Hotel.
I've been watching that.
Man,
that looks awesome, man.
I tell a lot of people all the time, if there's one place that I could take a non-believer that I could almost guarantee that they would walk out a believer, it would be Old Park Hotel.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
they're in the process of renovating it, redoing it. The spirits are loving it. We've been kind of helping with the cleanup on it in the time that we have to help, and the spirits there are going crazy. They're loving it.
That's really cool. I've been watching on there. Like I know Chad. I met him when we were
we're
there on that, and he's a nice guy. Like I've got a lot of respect for you guys. So, but it's watching that, and I'm thinking that's really cool. And again, it inspires us to come back. So
yeah.
Well, actually, he just said in the comments, the answer is yes. Just tell me when.
Thank you, Chad. It's we love Texas. Like Texas is great. Someone said when actually. Australians are just British Texans. And you know what? I'll wear that as a badge of honor. Don't worry. I love the attitude. I love the people are always friendly. I've been over there 4 times. I've only got yelled at once.
Who yelled at you?
Oh, no. I was with my son. We were taking a bus from New York to Philadelphia. And to meet Brad and Barry actually, and we were right behind the driver, and I leaned down. I took a photo just forward, and she thought I was taking a photo of her, and she turned around and told me I wasn't taking a photo of you.
But it was a New Yorker. It wasn't a Texan. Now I understand.
No, it wasn't a Texan. It wasn't a Texan. I know everyone's and as I said, I've never had issue with anyone, so it was really great. Yeah, good people, especially the Texans.
I'm going to say, because if it was a Texan, it probably would have been more along the lines of like, I know you ain't taking my Polaroid. Something like that.
Absolutely.
We like to draw that shit out over here.
I love it. I love the accent.
I do not give consent.
Exactly.
And then you hear the click.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually,
and it ain't the click from a camera.
No, no. Sure ain't.
I'm not taking your photo.
Yeah. So, it's like, excuse me, sir.
So, Bill, I was going to say, if they want to follow along on y'all's adventures, because I can sit here and talk to you all night. I'm not going to lie. We could be here for hours, but
it's fun. We have fun.
We're gonna have to have you back on for damn sure. But if they wanted to follow along in your journey or anything like that, where all can they find you? Where can they go? what page is
probably the best place is the Facebook page, the Australian Paranormal Society. Check that up. Mandy looks after all that. She puts everything on there. I'm useless with that sort of thing. So she puts plenty of good stuff up there. We do have, as I said, we have a YouTube channel coming up, which hasn't been released yet, but I put a bunch of stuff on there, and not sure how good the editing is, but it's I'm learning. So I'll have a go at anything, once. And that will be released soon, so that'll go up on that page, and people
share it to us, and we will share it out as well.
Send it to you guys, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, Australian Paranormal Society.
Words are hard. It's okay.
I'll slow down. Australian Paranormal Society on Facebook is the best way. But look, jump on there. You can send us a message. We're always open. We'll get back to you. Emails on there. Even my phone number's on there. So if you're in Australia, you can always ring up. But look, anyone that we'll talk to anyone. We're not, we're very friendly. And we'll help anyone out that needs help. So, yeah. And we're going to work on getting these tours organized so we can come over and see you all.
Heck yes.
Yeah. And are you available to be booked for events?
Absolutely. So our events we run at the moment. I have 2 locations that I run: Bundoora Park Farm and the Victorian Trades Hall. That's an awesome building. I also do walking tours. So ghost tours. So I take people around and that sort of stuff. We have. We run a series of workshops and lectures at the moment. So we do training, like, if people need, they want to be investigators, we will help you, develop that. But we do things like we have a presentation called Voices of the Dead, which is actually showing the recordings that Amanda gets through her cold cases. Because the way she works is she actually she'll get the case however she gets it, whether it's from the police, from private, or from the spirit. And then she does her work. And then what she does is she gets them to talk through like a portal device. It's a bit different. Yeah. And it's so clear. So she'll use we use sound banks, not like Ovilus or, Spirit Box, simply sound banks. She runs that through this portal, and the voices that come through are like me and you talking. They're so clear. And so we do this presentation. I do. Mandy says she's quite funny. She's actually a character. I know I don't do media. I don't like media. I'm very shy. She doesn't like being in front of the camera. I'll start doing this talk, and then she'll start talking, and then she changes. she's got all this information, and I love it because it's just so there's so much information. But yeah, we do. That's one of the presentations. We have a new event coming up called Paranormal Days with a Z. So that out a little bit different. And what that is that's a full day. So people come along, and there'll be a bunch of different presentations, workshops. There'll be lunch, usually from say 10 till 4 on a Saturday, and that's going to be a regular thing. Our first one's the 26th of this month down in Cheltenham, which is a place here in Melbourne. And that's going to be fun. We're getting a bunch of people that are interested in paranormal together. I think the first one will have a presentation on Arrowdale Asylum. We're going to have a workshop on astral projection.
Oh, nice.
And that'd be cool.
Yeah, we'll have a panel. I've been interested in astral projection since I was about 15. I actually found, to be honest, yesterday I was looking for something, and if I could show you this book, the covers actually come off, and I've had this since I was about probably 12. And when I was 15, I read it properly, and there's a bit in there about astral projection, and it dragged me into it, and I tried it a few times, it didn't work, and I kept trying, and eventually I experienced it, and I went, wow. And so now and then it's not a constant thing. I will go and have a go at it, etc. But we actually I have used astral projection for an investigation. So yeah, so that's all part of our workshop. So I sort of put that in there and show people how they can astral travel, and then hey, you can apply it for this, this, and this, and this is how we do it. So it's a little bit out there.
And they can find all of that on your Facebook page?
Absolutely. Any of our workshops they can find on the Facebook page. But also, like, if they I have a girl at the moment whose fiance is right in the paranormal, and she's wants to organize something for his birthday. So we're probably going to be doing a private tour of one of my locations. So, you know, if someone has something like that, they can come to us and we'll do that for them. We'll organize something. Just recently, last Saturday, actually, a friend of mine was, there was a birthday party at an old jail. It's now a hotel. And she was doing readings. She was a medium, so she was doing readings. And she said they want someone to come and bring some paranormal equipment. And I said, yeah, no worries. So, you know, go down there, have something to eat. And we set up, I set up a table with a gear and was just speaking to people. And my son had a computer with a speaker in one of the cells, because there's still cells there that you can go into, and was playing parts of the Voices of the Dead for people. And they had a great time. You know what I mean? We had people borrowing the equipment and going off in the cells to do their own little investigation, things like that. You know, so people can contact us if they've got an event they want us to attend. We're really open, and we're really into, you know, helping people see that we're all normal people, and we're all trying to find a way.
I think that is the perfect way to put it. We're all normal. We're just trying to find the way through this. Well,
that's exactly, Steve. That's exactly.
Well, Bill, thank you so much. And with that, Blake, why don't you tell them everything they need to know about us?
All right, sounds good. Bill, hang with us for just a little bit. We got a few announcements, and then we will wrap this up. So,
thanks for having me. Thank you, guys.
Not a problem.
Thanks for coming, man.
If you want to support the show directly, check out our Patreon page. That's patreon.com/EVP podcast. For just $5 a month, you'll unlock over 450 Patreon exclusive videos, including pre and post broadcasts, which are the 30 minutes before and the 30 minutes after this live broadcast. So you're getting an additional hour with us each week. Your support from this goes directly back to the show and towards the adventures that we bring you week to week. And if you are not sure about joining that, try it risk-free with our 7-day free trial. Make sure you stay connected with us. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, many more by searching Everything Vaguely Paranormal, looking for that green sound wave. And remember, you can catch us live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube. If you'd like to meet us in person or come hang out, you do have quite a few options. First, this weekend, we'll be at the Paranormal Rockdown at Broadhead Manor in Broadhead, Wisconsin. That's going to be July 18th and 19th. We will be helping lead the investigation take place on Saturday night. It is going to be a fun time. A lot of rock bands and a lot of different vendors. Paranormal team's going to be there. Tickets for the event are available at paranormalrockdown.com. Then you can catch us at the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash from July 25th to the 27th, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. That is a paranormal weekend of events, guests, speakers, and vendors, and that is taking place at the Eisenhower Hotel, and tickets are only available at the door. Then we are back to the center of the country for the KC Paracon on August 2nd in Kansas City. There will be celebrity speakers, vendors, and an investigation taking place. Tickets for that can be purchased at paraconkc.com. Then we're headed west September 3rd through the 6th to Vernal, Utah for Phenomicon 2025. This will include some of the biggest names in paranormal: Dave Schrader, Jack Osborne, Cindy Kaza, Amy Bruni. The list goes on and on, honestly. It is a week-long conference, and tickets can be purchased at phenomicon.net. September 27th, we will be at Independence, Missouri at the Masonic Temple with Epic VIP Events LLC with Mysterious Mike and Sam for the Parathon with Johnny Hauser, Josh Hurd, Stephanie O'Reilly, and many more. That event is 18 and up. Tickets for that can be purchased online at Eventbrite through the Mysterious Mike and Sam. And finally, we will be attending the Rock Island Roadhouse Esoteric Expo on October 4th in Rock Island, Illinois, which is a weekend of speakers, psychics, mediums, metaphysics, and I hear that the real Annabelle will be making her appearance as well. So those tickets can be purchased through Extreme Ticketing. That is Extreme with an X only. ExtremeTicketing.com/Rock Island Roadhouse/tickets. Make sure you go subscribe to our Eventbrite page to be notified when public investigation tickets go on sale, because guess what? As of 10 o'clock tonight, Central Standard Time, our 2-night investigation at the Old Park Hotel is going live. Those tickets are extremely limited, so make sure you go and get yours tonight. To make it easier, we've added all these links to our link tree, which will be on the Everything Vaguely Paranormal Facebook and X profiles Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, or you can search linktr.ee/Everything Vaguely Paranormal. We are grateful for your continued support. Every like, comment, share, and download keeps the adventures alive. So if you have a favorite episode, share it with your friends. Or if you have a story, comment, or question, or you'd like to be a guest on the show or have us as guests on your show, email us at the evppod@gmail.com. That is THEEVPPOD@gmail.com.
Go like, share, and subscribe to that Facebook page. Hey, give us that thumbs up if you enjoyed the show and enjoyed seeing our very special guest tonight, Mr. Bill Tabone from the Australian Paranormal Society, researcher, paranormal investigator, and author. Go pick up his books, Ghost of Melbourne and Ghost of Arendelle, right?
Arendelle
Asylum. And you can get those on Amazon. And Ladies, you're welcome. You got to listen to that wonderful accent all night long. So we want to thank you, Bill, for joining us. And thank you for being here this evening. I'm Shelley Pruitt. My partners in the paranormal, Mr. Blake Smith, Mr. Ryan Roberts. Very special thank you to Mr. William Tabone for being here. And as always, we will see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.